This week, I'm going to do the 6 things you've got to think about as a rider to train perfect trot canter transitions, because they're not the same. There's 6 things you've got to think about when training a horse, but then these 6 things are what you need to make sure you're doing as a rider. So the first one is that you have an independent seat. So just going to start trotting. To do a good trot canter transition, your seat bones need to be plugged into the horse, which means you need to be doing sitting trot. And if your seat bones aren't connected, you won't be able to influence the horse with your seat. So I'm going to do a canter transition now. Good girl. And all I did was scoop with my inside seat bone. And then to trot, all I did was bring my other seat bone back into play again. Now, if your seat is still bouncing, or, you know, I can't do it very well, but if your seat isn't where it needs to be, you won't be able to have that level of connection with the horse. And that's okay. I didn't have a connection with my horse for years. Couldn't figure out where I could plug my seat bones in. So that's fine, but rather than going, my horse is crap, my horse doesn't do good trot canter transitions, work on you. Work on getting your sitting trot better, work on getting your canter seat better, work on plugging your seat bones into the horse, and your trot canter transitions will improve because of that. Sometimes we get so stuck up on the horse going, I have to train the horse, I have to train the horse, that it's really important that we sit back and think, well, how can I train me? Because when I train me, my horse will naturally just get better. The second thing you've got to think about is mindset. So you want your horse to be relaxed, and you want your horse to allow your aids through and to work with you and to do what you want. If your mind is cluttered and filled with negative thoughts, worrying thoughts, you're worried about something coming up at work the next day, you're angry because traffic was bad getting to the horse, you're stressed, whatever it is, then that's not fair. You don't want your horse to have emotions. I don't want her thinking, oh, I don't want to do this, I want to be back in the stable, I'm really angry at the horse in the stable next to me yesterday because he wouldn't be quiet. I don't expect her to think that. I expect her to go around going, what does my mum want? What does my mum want? What does my mum want? And she's ignored me for that one. And then when I apply the aid, to operate and to canter when I ask. So if I want that from her, I need to be that. So it's really important as a rider you create your own training mindset where you're devoid of any emotion, any thoughts, except focusing on what the horse needs from you, focusing on what you're looking to create, and just being the leader for the horse. The third thing you need to know as you need to have a very steady contact to do trot canter transitions. If you want your horse to have a steady connection and to not flick its head in the trot canter, you need to make sure that your hands are dead still. Gretchen has a lovely contact most of the time, and that's because I've developed and kept the feel that my hands don't move. Now, if my hands start moving, you can see her mouth starts moving. Well, actually, not too bad. Good girl. But she's not connected. She's not through onto the bit, which then means, so if I didn't have a good connection, hello, Gretch. If I didn't have a good connection and my reins were loose and I say canter, firstly, she doesn't, and you can see that connection, that contact into the trot canter wasn't that nice. Oh, your bell boot fell off. That's all right. Good girl. Whereas now I have a nice contact into the mouth. I can push her up into the bit to half halt and prepare for the transition, and now do the transition, and that transition is going to score me a lot better than what it would do if I didn't have a good connection. So yes, you want your horse to keep a steady head. Yes, you want your horse to be on the bit. That means you've got to have steady hands. So you've got to work every day getting that core nice and strong so you can keep your hands out in front of you and still. The fourth thing you need to know as a rider is you've got to have clarity on what you're looking to create. If you want to do good trot canter transitions, you have to know what standard you're willing to accept. So canter, I'm not happy with that. Good girl, I'm glad you did a bad one. Now you might say, it was okay. Yeah, but okay doesn't win medals. Come on, Gretchen. Half halt, go into the bit more. Half halt, more. Still not good enough. More. Breath. Now, I was happy with the third one. I have clarity on what my standard is for the trot canter transition. I'm not going to back off until I get it. You need to have that as well. That's your job as a rider to know what your standard is for all your transitions. The fifth thing you need to do is you need to be able to control the horse's straightness. On this side, Gretchen isn't straight. She likes to, sorry. She likes to fall in, and she likes to tilt her nose to the outside. So I need to fix all that tilting, and she's a little bit weak on this inside hind leg, which means the canter transition isn't as good. It's okay. And you're probably going, no, it's all right. It is, but it's still not as good as the other side. She feels weaker. She feels not as strong. And judges can pick that up. So my job as a rider is to be able to put her, So I put her into a bit of a, Gretchen. Now she just is using it as an excuse. But I had to put her into a bit of a shoulder in. You can see now, I'm leg yielding her hind legs out of the circle, putting her head into the circle, and then asking her to do a canter transition, which she finds a lot harder. Oh, it's your other bell boot. That's all right. I don't know what Georgia did when she groomed you today. Yes, doing the transition that way, see how she hates it? And I'm still asking her to position, I know, her body, and now she goes, I can't do it. Just by me saying, put your hind legs over there and your head in, she's now can't even trot. So the answer is not to back away. The answer is I'm going to make her do this for a circle or two, because that's how she'll get stronger. Good girl. Good girl. And then I'll straighten her up. And then she'll go crooked again. But that feels better. So now I'll just do a little bit of a leg yield. Canter. And again, because I asked for that leg yield into the canter transition, it didn't come off as it was meant to. And now she's throwing her head in the contact and just saying, oh, this is all too hard, Mum, and trying to evade. And my job is just to sit up here and say, I know it's hard, I sympathise, I hate the gym too, but we're going to Grand Prix, baby, and that means you've got to get stronger. Good girl. And every time she tries for me, even in the trot transition, she has to be straight, which means I'm putting her into this exercise. Good girl. Every time she tries, she gets told what a good girl she is. The last thing you need to have skills in as a rider is to be able to have effective half halts. You'll notice when I said, oh, I want to do good trot canter transitions, I was like, it's okay, but I need it better. So what I was doing was half halting, packaging the horse up with my outside hand and my inside leg, outside hand, inside leg, leg, hand, soften, leg, hand, soften, leg, hand, soften. She went to run, so I bail out of the transition. That's not the transition. More half halts, more half halts. And it's just feedback to me, my half halts weren't coming through. She's choosing to ignore me. So more half halts, Good girl. And there's your perfect canter transition. Half halts to collect for trot. Whoa. Now she's just running through me. She's completely not listening to me. And sometimes they do this. They just get so worked up. Good girl. Trot. Half halt, half halt, half halt. If I didn't half halt, you can see how she just runs on the forehand and just, unpackages herself. The half halts keep the horse sitting on the hind legs and packaged so they look like that. And she finds it hard. I'm telling her to sit in her hind legs and she's bearing down on the rein going, oh, I don't want to do that. Come on. Work. Work. Because the whole point of dressage is I want her light in the mouth, light in the contact, and her sitting on her hind legs. She wants to run on the forehand and put all her weight on her shoulders. And her hind legs then don't have to carry. Better. Better. And I know she's young. It's not like she can passage like my Grand Prix horse. But she has to start learning to put weight behind and be there. Good girl. Good girl. So I trust that helps. I trust that gives you heaps more insight. If you're interested in how to train your horse in that way and what I taught you resonated with you and it helped you,